Hi, thanks for being here. I'm Beck and this is my 2-week trip driving the NC500 in Scotland in my camper van Savannah. I would like to add that I didn't actually get any of this footage with the intention of making a vlog, so it might be a bit patchy, but I hope you enjoy. I set off on the 4th of September 2022 after I'd been to Ferncotton's Happy Place Festival. I stopped overnight at this campsite in Scotland before heading up to Scotland just to break up the journey a little bit. Yeah, I met this man and this absolutely beautiful dog. We spoke for ages. The sky was absolutely stunning that night. And yeah, I was so excited to start my journey. This was the bathroom that we rated a 6 out of 10, but more on that scoring system later. Next stop was Red Deer Village Holiday Park in Glasgow. Yes, I was really breaking up my journey. I gave this campsite a 5 out of 10. I had a plot next to like the bins and some work tools, but it was nice enough for a little stop off, some food and yoga before moving on the next day. This was the washroom. We gave it a 6.5 out of 10, pretty good rating. It had chairs on the walls and a marble effect in plastic. Lovely. This is where things got exciting because it's where the NC500 officially starts in Inverness. I stayed at TORVEAN caravan park. It was fine, like it wasn't really pretty, but it wasn't super ugly either. I gave it a 6 out of 10. It's a good base if you want to explore the city. When I turned up, it was super rainy, so I held out for a little bit and luckily it cleared up and I went for a beautiful walk along the Caledonian River. Okay, here's where I'll explain about the bathroom situation. So every time I stopped at a new campsite, I sent photos to my sister and brother-in-law and we decided to rate my washroom. So we rated every washroom out of 10, just a bit of fun, got them involved in the trip. Ben's review: I'm afraid I can't forgive a curtain, let alone one that's too short, sloppy in my eyes. Room looks okay to be fair, and the complimentary loofah is a nice touch. I'm going with a 6. I did spend an extra day in Inverness because I had to do some work. I wouldn't say that you would have to spend 2 days in Inverness. I don't think it's needed. But nevertheless, I made my way into the city, explored a little bit. That's the castle. I didn't actually go in it, but got a picture. Picked up a package from Amazon for my cold water swimming and had some dinner in this classic Scottish pub. The first port of call the next morning was to go on a hike. I always use the app All Trails to find basically any of the walks that I go on. So yeah, I would massively recommend that. It was actually quite a challenging walk. The ascent was pretty high and yeah, I found it quite hard, but I made friends with this tree and meditated with it. And it was just such a nice way to like dive into nature. cold water swim time. I found this place by searching on Facebook groups. They're a really good place to find all sorts of good spots for things like this. It's Loch Achilty, so it was really easy to park up and walk straight in. Yeah, it was probably my first time actually trying this properly, and I have to say I felt brilliant afterwards, like on top of the world. The ducks bobbing past though. Had a little stop off at this village, Strathpeffer, hoping to find some healing waters. Wasn't successful. Did get a hot chocolate and some nail scissors from the local pharmacy, so all in all. Then drove over to my campsite to check in. It's Fortrose Bay campsite, and oh my days, it was the most epic park up. Just look, I was blown away by the fact I was like driving and sleeping right next to the sea. Oh my gosh, I still can't get over it now. So I had a little bit of dinner, pasta, which I pretty much had every night, and got settled into this beautiful campsite, which is a 10 out of 10 by the way. They even had little pebbles that you could take. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it's time for Rate My Washroom. This is my brother-in-law's rating. The dolphin mosaic is a nice touch. The inside, however, seems a little basic, but functional nonetheless. Seems a very no-frills type of washroom. I'm going for a 6.5, in brackets, pushed up slightly by the oar handrail, close bracket. Little stroll along the seafront before settling down for bed. I was told that you could see dolphins in this place. I didn't see any in the evening, but I had my fingers crossed for the morning. Good night. Morning. The next morning was probably one of the best of my life. I'm not even lying. I took a stroll along the seafront to Chanonry Point, which is about 2 kilometres from the campsite. There were loads of people there in the morning, so I knew something exciting was happening. But on the way, I saw a sea lion pop its head out of the water. Now, seals are my favourite animals, so I was already like, this is the best day ever. But once I got to the point near the lighthouse, I saw dolphins swimming in the wild, and yeah, there's probably not really any words to actually describe how amazing this was. So after this, I headed back to the van, had a little rest, and then I made my way into the village of Fortrose, went to the post office, did some browsing, the most gorgeous little charity shop where I found a beautiful gold necklace, which is like a lovely memento from my trip. Then I went to Dornoch, and that was my stopover for the night. But before heading to my campsite, I went to Dornoch Castle Hotel because we actually know the people that run it, and they gave me a private little tour around their whiskey distillery and warehouse. So that was fun. Had some lunch in a little forest stop, and then, camped up for the night in the most gorgeous campsite, Dornoch campsite. And the sunset was unreal. It was also a full moon that night, so where like all of this amazing stuff had been happening, I was just feeling quite emotional, but just absolutely full of gratitude. Washroom facilities at Dornoch. Nothing too exciting to report. There was nothing from the brother-in-law for this one, I'm afraid. But my review was plain, blue, clinical, funky smell. Shower hot, but pressure not great. Hairdryer took 20p's. Big downfall. 5 out of 10. Wow, what an amazing day of sightseeing. I think this was my favourite day so far on the trip. I did my first ever wild camp. I found this spot on Park for Night app. I was actually a bit nervous, so I was secretly glad when I turned up that there was one other van there, although I kept checking it to see who was staying in it. But anyway, I had a good night's sleep and woke up in the middle of nature. I decided to book a ferry to Orkney the night before, so it was pretty spontaneous, and I went over for just one night. So yeah, that's pretty much as north as you can go in Scotland, and Orkney Island is only 990 kilometres squared. Interesting. This is a ferry, which I was pretty scared about because I can get seasick. Luckily I was fine, and the views were just incredible on the other side. Tried and failed to find the twat sign, very disappointing, but I did stumble across this little antiques shop. Well, it wasn't little, it was massive, nearly broke something, but I got this little mascot for my van. Then did some more driving around the island. I had a nap in a car park, which was full when I went to sleep and empty when I woke up. And there was also this little cute honesty box thing, which I just found absolutely adorable. I didn't have any change, which was sad. Then drove to St Margaret's Close, so the southwest of the island, and found this park up for the night. I mean, I have no words. Like, thank you, Park for Night, and also all the van travel vlogs I've watched for giving me the confidence to do this, because solo as well, because these are just memories which will last a lifetime. I remember feeling so filled with gratitude this night. There was a couple of other vans about, but they were spread along the coast, so I felt super safe and woke up to the most epic view ever. time to say goodbye to Orkney. So I got the ferry back to the mainland and it was a bit rocky, so I didn't feel that good. Now, I thought I'd be a bit sick of van life by now and that I'd need an Airbnb, so I booked one for 2 nights. I did a dance class the first night that I stayed in the Airbnb called Movement is Medicine, which was really nice to have the space to do so. Anyway, turns out I wasn't actually sick of the van, but still enjoyed the Airbnb. So, all in all. Day 8. So as I mentioned, I had another night and day here due to work reasons. So I went to Duncansby Head, which are the stacks. That was nice. It was getting a bit chilly by now. Oh, that's the famous sign. So yeah, I was getting a bit grumpy with the cold weather. But I had this lovely pub meal in the evening, so it was pretty chilled day and night, this one. Okay, so cute. A new day, and I spontaneously decided to stop at this castle, mainly because it said it had an animal centre, I'm not going to lie. And the sheep were probably the highlight of the day. But it was called the Castle of May, so it was the Queen Mother's castle when she was alive. And I actually found it really interesting, especially the corgi. Her favourite corgi was called Ranger. And I used to have corgis, so... That evening was my first ever wild camp, which was truly wild. It was in the forest area of Borgie, and there was not another person to be seen for miles. Safe to say, I did not sleep well that night. I think my body was on alert, but I'm so super proud that I did it, and yeah, could tick it off the list. Oh, I do have a washroom rating, although obviously this is the washroom. Very limited facilities in a small van. Cosy and inviting. What it lacks in space and options, it makes up for in comfort. Perfect spot for the solo traveller. It's a 9 from me. And that was from my brother-in-law. Attempting to get cosy for a terrible night's sleep in the Scottish forest, all alone. In the morning, I started with a little trail around the Borgie Glen. It was interesting, different, but I liked it. You'll see from the footage. I do have to say that I found once I got to the northwest side of the NC500, that's when the views started getting out of this world, more and more beautiful with every day of driving. Good morning, and let's rate my washroom. It was very open plan, so extremely cold and airy. The shower head was high, which means water sprayed all over the floor. There was nowhere to put toiletries. I was a little disappointed, so I gave it a 2.5. Oh, so you had to keep pressing that knob thing. But let's face it, we're not really paying for the shower. We're paying for the park up and the view, which I couldn't fault. Beautiful campsite. I took this photo because it was the first thing I saw when I woke up in the morning. But aside from the man, look at that view. Divine. Definitely an 8 out of 10 for SANGO Sands campsite. Smoo Cave was awesome. I would definitely recommend it if you're in DURNESS. It's a nice short walk, but you get a lot of bang for your buck. See here. There's a little car park not too far from here at all, and I grabbed a hot chocolate from this little hut after the hike, which was nice. But I actually soon sacked that off because I drove past this place, which I heard does the best hot chocolate in town, the world. Can't remember. Anyway, stopped off, got one. Yeah, very good. Very, very good indeed. This was my third and final cold water wild swim session. I did not feel good after this one. I think it's because it was so wavy that instead of like slowly acclimatizing to the temperature and walking in, it was just crashing into me. So I felt a bit sick. But yeah, and also this is what happens when you leave the cupboards open in your van when you're driving. So this was ACHMELVICH campsite. I think it's the only one in the area. And here's the washroom. Super hot shower, enclosed cubicle, which made for lots of lovely steam. Appreciated the hairdryer as I was well overdue a hair wash. Cubicle was small, so there was some elbow bashing. 6.5 out of 10. Fish and chips from the campsite and an early night as I still wasn't feeling the best from the cold water. Day 11 was quite chill. It mainly consisted of a drive to Ullapool. I can't find the name of this campsite anywhere, but it was walkable to the town. It was pretty chilly, so I stayed in the van for a while with the heater on, had a Zoom call, and then later on I walked into town for a seafood dinner. Time for a fab review from the bro. Washroom looks borderline prison. I would imagine a cold flannel would be more appealing. Resting on your laurels is no excuse, and for this reason it's a possibly slightly premature but confident 2 from me. After a good rest, I was so ready for day 12, and this was actually one of my favourite days. I'm just going to play the footage, so enjoy. After an absolutely stunning drive over the Bealachnabar Pass, I got to my campsite and decided to go on a little walk, so saw a few more pretty sights before settling down for the night. Also worth noting that the Bealachnabar Pass isn't as difficult as some people may make out. It's listed as one of the most dangerous roads in Britain, in the UK, but I found it fine. Next morning I had to drive the road again, and this time it was so misty at the top there was no view at all, so I feel I was super lucky the previous day. I drove to Skye. I saw some Highland cows. They were so cute and friendly, and you could even stroke their heads. Loved them. I then was excited to find my third and final closed distillery. Yay! I really wanted to go into Talisker, so this was a little bit annoying, but at least I saw it from the outside. Time for a little walk here at the Ferry pools. This was the most people I'd seen in one place the whole trip, so that was a bit much, not gonna lie. I do like my solitude, but that was beautiful. I really wanted to do a cold water dip, but because there were so many people on the walk, hundreds, and there was probably only a couple of people in the water, I was just too nervous because I thought everyone would be staring at me. So yeah, really was stunning though, and this was to try and show how far I'd walked because it felt quite far. This was a drive-up campsite, and I feel like I got the best spot in the field. It was the most perfect park-up for my last night in Scotland. The next day was my last day. I saw 3 rainbows in the morning, so I knew it was going to be a good day, unless it was just the same rainbow following me from different perspectives. Who knows? I went round the Eilean Donan Castle, which has some really nice memories from my family. And then this was the sleeping area for the night, a car park. There's quite a few other vans in the car park, so not the most scenic, but nevertheless a good place to rest my head. In the morning, this was just opposite the car park, but you couldn't see it. This was like my goodbye to Scotland, and I hit the road, but I did have one more night staying in the lakes. Now this is false advertising because I didn't come across any of these specimens in the Scottish forest. This campsite was on a farm in a village called Penrith on the outskirts of the Lake District, and it was absolutely stunning. It had a stream running through it, walks you could go on, you could go into the village. Honestly, it was just absolutely perfect. I have to say, at this point, I didn't even use the washroom. It seems the further you get around the NC500, if you're going anti-clockwise, the better the views get, the worse the washrooms get. But let's do one more review for fun. Oh dear Lord, my eyes. This is a shocker. Shower looks like another prison special, and now I know it takes 20p's, I can't even. I'm going in early with a 2. This was the sky that welcomed me home to Nottinghamshire. Beautiful. And that concludes my video on the NC500. If you ever get the chance to do it, please do. It's honestly been one of my favourite trips of all time to date. So special. Thank you for watching. If you've got this far, mainly my dad, thank you for being here. Bye.